Hello, hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face. I don't know, I find the intro funny, and I guess we're sticking with it because a lot of you enjoy it too, so that's what we're doing from now on. So, new video, obviously, new cards. I am part of a blog hop today for Waffle Flowers June. It's June already. June release. And I will have all that info in my blog post, which will be linked directly below the video. So after you watch this, you can hop on over there. I'll have the links to everybody else. And there's like giveaways and all that stuff. Plus a lot of information with like inspiration using all the different products. Because what I've created is just a little smidgen of the new release. And yeah, my cards are fairly simple. Just some die cut, pretty much all die cutting. Tiny bit of stamping. I used some of the newer Concord and 9th cardstocks, like the new colors. Love. Just chef's kiss. Love. So combining those with some of the new waffle flower dies. I used an old one, a couple oldie but goodie ones that are favorites of mine. And then, yeah, a fun little sort of pop-up surprise on the inside of the card, which, for those that follow me, it's kind of obvious, but I don't do a whole lot of interactive type cards. I love them. It fascinates me to see interactive cards and the thought process behind them, like the brands that design these, whether they're wafer dies or just all the different elements, and then it all comes together to do some cool thing. And my brain doesn't work like that. So I like that everyone else thinks it all out for me. That's how it should be. But yeah, these are fun. These are fun. So just stay tuned. Keep watching. And I will show you guys what I've made. Alrighty. I am hoping my fan isn't making a bunch of noise while I do this voiceover. It's really hot in here. And I really don't want to turn it off. So anywho. I prepped all these little pieces of cardstock to die cut using the Waffle Flower Layered Abstract Flowers die. This die set came out last year, I think. I'm not sure. It came out a while ago. And it's really cute, and I just thought it would go nicely with the new products I'm going to use to make these cards. So before I did, like, my first step, basically, was to lay out all the dies from that set and then trim down just like scraps and whatnot of these different colors of cardstock for the different layers. And for these ones specifically, I used Concord and 9th. I used Dragon Fruit. That's that really bright, like dark pink. Oh, love it. Love it. It's beautiful. And then Sweet Pea is the medium pink, and then the lightest pink is Carnation. And then for the greens, I used lemongrass and avocado. And lemongrass is the lighter green, and avocado is the slightly darker green. And I'm using my little Griffin EMPRESS mini to do my die cutting. I actually use that for everything for these cards because none of the wafer dies were too big. The plates on this EMPRESS mini are let me double check. They're like exactly at 4 1/4 inches wide. Yes. By about 7.5 inches long. So technically you can die cut an A2 size. However, someone else has asked me about this and I responded, and I do not use my A2 size dies, like ones that go right up to 4 1/4 inches. In this machine, because you have to line things up like 100% perfect, you know, when it goes right to the edge like that. And you're just kind of playing with fire in my opinion. And I'll just use my platinum, like my Spellbinders Platinum 6. Obviously if you have a larger, like the larger EMPRESS die cut machine or just a larger die cut machine, you're good to go. But I use this one or my little manual like mini machine. There's the Honeybee one. There's the Tim Holtz Sizzix one. There's Hero Arts has a little mini machine. And those ones have much smaller plates. And they're manual. Those work great too. Whatever works, you know. I just like the smaller machines for when I'm doing lots of just all these small little pieces. It's just faster, you know? I can just, especially with this, because I keep my bigger die cut machine on the, like, behind me. Where when you guys see me talking now, you can see the machines. Like, they're sitting behind me, which is fine, but it's just harder to film. So anyway, did all my little die cutting. And I also die cut some of Simon Says Stamps Sea Glass cardstock. That is one of my ultimate favorites. To me, it's just the perfect, like, pale sort of aqua color. And with that one, I had used one of the dies from Waffle Flowers Designer Template 1 die set. That's another oldie but goodie that I use quite often. So set all those aside, and I'm just going to work on these flowers first. Super easy to assemble. The larger bloom is just these 3 pieces, and you can't really see it, but on the largest solid piece, so the darkest one in this case, because I die cut it from the darkest color, there's a little score line that the die imprints into it, so it shows you exactly where to line up that middle piece, because they're kind of abstract little flowers. So assemble those, really easy. Yeah, pop the stem into place, pop that little piece on top, pop on the leaf, and you're good to go. And for all of this, I am using Simon Says Stamps Craft Tacky glue. I put that glue into one of Gina K's precision glue bottles, the precision tip glue bottles. And I've been doing this for, I'm not sure how many months now, but it's been working great. Because that is my glue of choice. And I am very much liking these little bottles because you can do all the little detail, you know, narrow, finicky bits, all that kind of stuff. So it's to the point now where this is just what I use. So I assembled the larger flowers, and then I assembled the smaller ones. The smaller ones is just the 2 pieces for the actual little bloom. Then you got your little stem and your leaf, and then this little piece that's basically kind of the base of the flowers. And then for the new products I'm using, this is the Oversized Hugs Print Wafer Die. And I love it. You can never go wrong with sentiment dies, really, of any shape or size. I don't discriminate. This one, though, I was thinking, and I didn't do it for these cards because I liked everything just as is, like the cardstock as is, like these die cut pieces. But with this one, I was like, ooh, you could like take a stencil and stencil on the top, you know, the top layer of the word, because it's wide enough that you could get, you know, you could add some pattern to it. That would look really fun. And then I was like, ooh, or glare cardstock. That would look amazing. You know, the ideas are going. But I just stuck with the carnation cardstock for the words, and I die cut 3 layers, as is tradition. Got to have that dimension. And then the outline I die cut with that dragon fruit cardstock, which is fastly becoming very fast. It's kind of gonna, I think, be one of my absolute favorites. It is a beautiful color. So the other new wafer die I use, this is the Inside Pop-Up XO's wafer die. And I die cut it from dragon fruit cardstock. And then I die cut scraps of the carnation cardstock just from the top portion there, that wide rectangle. You can skip this step, or you could just trim a rectangle cardstock to that size. But I was thinking about that, and I was like, I'm just going to die cut a scrap. It's easier. It'll be sized exactly to what I need. And I'm going to trim off those little like excess tabs on the bottom there. I'll just trim those off with scissors. And by doing this is just going to create a little bit extra, because this is going to go on the inside, and I'll like explain this as I, you know, adhere everything together. It's super simple, because like I said, I don't do much interactive, and I generally don't want to think too hard. Really, you know, I would just rather assemble things. This is very easy to assemble. So the die not only die cuts it, but it also pierces all on the top and the bottom of those letters and the top of the tabs, so it folds easily. So you fold everything in, and you're basically creating a little box. And then this other piece of cardstock, like I said, you can skip this if you don't want to do it. It just makes the letters pop out a little bit more if you use a contrasting color of cardstock. I also thought, like, if I could have just done white cardstock instead of the pink on the inside portion, and that would make the letters pop out even more. But I'm really loving these pinks. They're just pretty. So I used my scissors to trim off that little excess bit, and then I adhered this to that same section basically on, I will call this like the inside of the box, as you can see. So adhered that together just like so. And then I'm going to set these aside for a second because I want to stamp on what will be the inside of my card bases. My card bases are going to be top folding A2 white note cards. And I chose a sentiment from, this is the Inside Sentiments Hugs. I always love when there are sentiment sets specifically geared towards the insides of cards because you guys know, I always want to add something to the inside. I not just want, I must. Cards are not done until the insides are done. So, stamp the sentiments with just some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And then to make this little pop-up, all you got to do is apply adhesive to this bottom tab. And I used my craft tacky glue for this. You could also just use like a score tape, your redline tape, something like that. That works great too. Again, it's super warm in my little garage office space, so my glue is drying even quicker than normal. Like craft tacky glue dries pretty quickly, but it's drying extra quick because it's hot in here. So I was like, I'm just gonna use craft tacky glue. So you line up the die cut, that bottom tab there, with right at the score line of the inside of the card, and then you kind of bring the card itself up to like a 90-degree angle, and then that way you're able to press the wider top tab right also against the score line there. And you can see I just adhered it and then closed the card shut and then pressed it down, and that's it. With this one specifically, once it's adhered, the card base cannot be opened completely flat because it's just the way this, forms a little box, and that's fine. So I did it again. I put adhesive on that bottom little tab. I pushed it up right against the score line here, or the score line of the card. Held it down, pressed it down for these few seconds just to get the glue to dry and adhere, and then added a bit more glue here to the back of the larger tab, and then it just comes together. I wasn't sure, these were my literal first attempts doing this, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. So adhere that into place, and that was it. Literally, that's it. That's how this works, and it's just cute, and it's simple, and it's that little extra. It's a little pop-up surprise with just not a whole lot of mathematics and all that. I love seeing it. I love seeing the interactive cards, and I always tell myself, I'm like, I should do that. I should show this in a video. Do I ever? No. So yeah, ones like this though, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So to adhere everything else, again, just craft tacky glue. I adhered the little panel I die cut from the sea glass cardstock, and then I adhered my little florals here, and then I'm going to adhere the big hugs die cut, and I was going to leave it just like this, but I needed to add some form of bling. Just keep her simple, but got to add something. So I went through my stash, and I had these waffle flower. These are old. I don't even know if they're available anymore. These are the up and running enamel dots, but the pink was very close to the color of the cardstock. So I was like, these work. So stuck those into place, and yeah, that finished off the cards. They were just fun, and like I said, mostly die cutting, tiny little bit of stamping, tiny little bit of embellishment. The kind of main thing with this is just this fun little XOXO pop-up on the inside of the card, and it's just fun, and it doesn't add a ton of bulk either. Like, this card still folds very flat. It's not gonna add a bunch of bulk inside the envelope, anything like that. Really, the bulkiest part is just the stacked hugs die cuts, so you could leave that off if you wanted to keep the card even flatter, but dimension is life, man. It just needs to be there. So that was it. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll have a link below the video to my blog post with all the info. I'll have a supply list. I'll link to all the supplies I used. Thank you all so very much for watching, thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.